There's a legend round here. A killer buried, but not dead.
Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, distributed by Paramount Pictures, directed by John Carl Buechler, produced by Lane Patterson. Score, the original music by Harry Manfredini, the incomparable, and of course, but this movie saw it interpreted by Fred Moline. Original theatrical release date, Friday, May 13th, 1988. It was released in 1,796 theaters its opening weekend, grossing $8.2 million across that aforementioned opening weekend, and seeing a $19.1 million gross overall at the box office, against a budget of $3.5 million. Adjusted for inflation in 2020 is $41,820,778.01. There's just a few points I want to touch on before I get into my review of this movie, which is going to be structured a little bit different, because honestly, this is probably my least favorite entry in this entire franchise, which, Friday the 13th being my favorite horror franchise, really hurts me to say, but I still can derive a little bit of enjoyment from it, even at its worst. Easily my least favorite overall, as I said. None of the ancillary characters, maybe Maddie, kind of pop in this one like they do in previous entries of the franchise. And this has easily the coolest opening scene and recap sequence. That's all due to the narrator's voice that you heard at the very beginning of the video. That was always my favorite thing about this movie. After the events of the previous film, the undead and decomposing Jason Voorhees remains chained to the bottom of Crystal Lake. While he remains chained, young Tina Shepard witnesses her alcoholic father physically abusing her mother. Tina unlocks previously latent telekinetic powers, which results in her father's death at the bottom of Crystal Lake. We flash to the present, and Tina, her mother Amanda, and her therapist Dr. Cruz, played by Terry Kaiser, Weekend at Bernie, yes.
It's the weekend, we moving like Bernie. Moving like Bernie, we moving like Bernie. Well, it's the weekend, we moving like Bernie.
Returning to the home where her father died, located on lovely Crystal Lake, she is undergoing therapy, and Dr. Cruz is basically trying to get her to perform parlor tricks with her telekinetic powers. The scene in which Tina unknowingly frees Jason from the bottom of the lake was pretty well done. The cinematography was good, the effects were cool. As he emerges from the lake with an exposed spinal column, Tina sees him emerge and passes out. But let's be honest, I'd pass out too if I saw a masked mongoloid pop out of the water. Michael and Jane are on their way to the cabin adjacent to where Tina, Amanda, and Dr. Weekend at Bernie's are staying, and their car conveniently breaks down, because the plot needs it to, and Jane's pinned to a tree by Jason with a knife, and then Michael gets a knife to the back and dispatched quickly. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that Michael and Jane were going to the cabin to celebrate his birthday. It was a surprise party, so happy birthday, Mike! Then we meet another couple complete idiots in the woods camping. Dan the man gets a fist through his back and his neck snapped for good measure. Oh, and he had a machete, which Jason absconds with, but then happens across their campsite and kills Judy by famously slamming her into a tree whilst she's in her sleeping bag. Tina stops over to Victim Central and makes the rich, bitchy blonde girl Melissa's pearl necklace break apart. In a shouting match with Dr. Bernie, she uses her powers to hurl a 12-inch television across the room. And we're talking the 80s, so it's actually impressive because it weighed like 200 pounds. And Jason happens upon our resident skinny dipping girl Sandra and drowns her. This is, of course, after she invited Russell, the rich guy of the group, into the water as well, but he gets his face smashed in with an axe. And after some other stuff happens that really didn't matter too much, nerdy girl Maddie paints herself hot, inexplicably goes looking for David, who she has a crush on, in the woods at night when everybody was still in the house. Russell's body falls out of a tree in front of her. She screams, hides in a barn full of sharp objects, and I think we know how this is gonna go. Plays little cat and mouse with Jason, only to get dispatched rather easily, and she never got the D thrown to her. It's a shame. So it's at this point in the movie that our token black couple, Ben and Kate, are in the middle of coitus when Jason crushes Ben's skull, and then Kate gets her, well, eye gouged out with a party horn. Yes, this couple, if you tell me they were in this movie for anything else, aside from the fact that the producers were probably like, hey, we don't have any black people in this movie. Let's throw a couple in there. Okay, here, you and you. You're in there. You're the token black couple in this movie. Which, I mean, really, honestly, there was pretty much, if you look back at Friday the 13th, that's pretty much how it went with the black representation in these movies. Oh yeah, and the hot, snobby girl Melissa Honey Dicks Eddy, the aspiring science fiction writer. I forgot to mention that too, which actually leads to him getting killed. David goes to the kitchen for a post-coital snack after banging the hot redhead Robin, and he finds blood all over the kitchen floor. Ignores it because he's high, and while he's getting food, he takes a kitchen knife to the stomach. You know, I've never been so high that I did not notice the floor is covered in blood, but then again, I've never been high in a house with a floor covered in blood. Eddie, the writer, is in the living room opening up Michael's presents when Jason apparently isn't too keen on the idea of seeing someone else's presents opened by anyone but the intended recipient and kills him with a machete to the neck. And then Jason throws the aforementioned hot redhead Robin out a window after she finds David's head. So apparently she thought it was better to receive head than give it. We then rejoin Dr. Bernie and Amanda Shepard in the woods, and Jason finds them as they argue, and Bernie throws Amanda in front of Jason, and she's impaled. God, he's such a weaselly little bitch. So Tina is out in the woods and happens across Dr. Bernie, and she notices blood all over him. When she questions him about it, he yells at her, and during the course of their discussion, Jason finds a steel-disked weed whacker, happens upon them, and disembowels Dr. Bernie with it. Goodbye, Dr. Bernie. Tina finds her mom dead, but then sees Jason and finds a cache of bodies Jason's been hiding, and they have a square off, and she trips him with tree roots and then electrocutes him in a puddle, only to have him get up again, of course. Round 2 happens at the cabin. Tina uses her telekinetic powers to hurl objects at Jason, including a wonky scene hitting with a plant in the face, but then she makes a whole porch collapse on him. Did I mention that she kind of forces his mask to pop off his head? Tina meets up with Nick and Melissa back at the house. Melissa, of course, thinks she's crazy and goes to leave against the advice of Nick, opens the door, and takes an axe to the forehead. Tina then makes a lamp hit Jason in the face, and he falls through the fucking stairs, only to burst through a wall and KO Nick. Tina pops his mask and strangles him with an electric cable and drops him right through the floor into the basement. Jason pulls Tina down in the basement. She uses the force to fill him with nails, spray him with gasoline, and light him on fire. Nick wakes up and they flee the burning house, which blows up for no fucking reason. Like literally, the house just blows up. As Tina and Nick sit on the dock, Jason somehow sneaks up on them, takes 4 bullets from Nick, then Tina uses the fucking force to summon her dad from out of the lake and pulls Jason into the water. And the end of the movie sees Tina and Nick live happily ever after. No, seriously, they're both in an ambulance together. Nick asks what happened to Jason, and Tina says, "We took care of it." It just reminds me of Dumb and Dumber, where Lloyd says, "Harry, I took care of it." That's how the movie ends.
You serious?
Fuck off, film. Oh, and for the record, there was this alternate ending where this random fisherman gets pulled out of the lake and killed by Jason. Again, fuck off, film. Final thoughts on Friday the 13th Part 7 and New Blood were this. Zombie Dad was horrible. The telekinesis was okay, but not great. The ancillary characters in this one were just... it hurt my brain. This is my least favorite entry in the entire franchise, and it really pains me to say that because I love this franchise. But as I've stated before, I'm probably not going to review Jason Goes to Hell or Jason X or Freddy vs. Jason or the reboot because after Part 8, you really lost me. I would have been fine with them stopping with Manhattan, but as most of these franchises do, they like to milk that cash cow as much as possible. I give this one total a 4.5 out of 10. There's not enough in this to save it to make it redeemable to me. Let's do the things and take this home, shall we? Do me that favor, people, if you have not yet. Bitch slap that like button for me. And yeah, do what the thing underneath me... Oh wait, it's not there yet? Hang on. Bam! Subscribe to the channel. If today might be the day that I've earned it, hit that red button and subscribe. I'm Etep Wakuyan of The Place to Be Reviews. I've been here with all of yous, and remember, if I don't see you, have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow. I'll catch you on the next one.